Good morning, everybody. It's Jeff Eichen here. And that's all you get this morning. Wait, I'll give you a bell here. So we'll get the little. So, in meditation for today's play and work and organization of your world, I'm going to read from The Citizen. It's a really incredible, I think, paper here. It says February 2025. Democracy dies in broad daylight. I normally don't go this direction, but today I have to. And I'm going to read you a incredible story about this beautiful lady here. Her name is Elizabeth Beavers. And it says here, and I'll start immediately, but today's episode is brought to you by just me, Jeff Eichen, and grab your hot cup and sit back. I'm going to try to make it through this, there I am, I'm going to try to make it through this incredible moment in time here, because this is a long 2-page article, and I don't want to make this go 2 days, so just bless the fact that that we're here. You know, they they all say we're in the free country, you know, so let's see if I can find a place to put our little logo here. Let's make it smaller and put it on my shoulder. Let's put it up here. Okay. So, welcome everybody. I'm going to read to you the interview with Elizabeth Beavers, and I'll jump around so it doesn't get too long, but sit back and take in what you can. But it's time to listen to the world and the energy of children being born, and what's going on, and how we're supporting annihilation of humans. You know, it's like really weird to me that it's become popular to keep war, you know, happening. So anyways, this is from the Capitol Hill Citizen, February and March of 2025. Elizabeth Beavers, the new head of Public Citizens Congress Watch, has on the wall of her Capitol Hill office a poster of the movie Oxana, Oxyana. The movie is a documentary of the town her family is from, and she lived as a child, Oceana, in the middle of the coal fields in southern West Virginia. Oceana fell victim to overprescription and abuse of the highly addictive painkiller Oxycontin. The addiction is so widespread that the coal mining community's own residents have nicknamed it Oxana. Next to that movie poster is a picture of some of her relatives, men who worked in the coal mines, many of whom suffered and died from black lung disease. Also on the wall is a poster of Beavers kept from her high school about 2000 presidential elections. It reads simply, "Let Ralph debate." The wall is, in a sense, a timeline of the journey for Beavers, for coal mines of the West Virginia to working for the public interest group founded by Ralph Nader. We interviewed Beavers in January 2025. Capitol Hill Citizens, where are you born and raised? I was born in West Virginia, Beavers, then rural North Carolina. Did your parents work in the coal industries? My parents did not. My dad and his siblings were the first of his family not to work in the coal industry. He went to medical school and became a doctor. But my grandparents uncles, and cousins all worked in the coal industry, and several of them continue to work in the coal mines. I'm talking to you from her office, from my office here in Public Citizen, and I have been hanging on my walls my family members. Growing public Capitol Hill Citizens, CHC. Growing up, did you have any awareness of political economy of the coal industry? No, Beavers. I was embarrassed of how late of a bloomer I was. Certainly I didn't think I understood much till much later that everything is political. The powers, dynamic corporate interests, and all of these things affect every single day and every single aspect of our lives. The area I grew up in is conservative with very religious and very economically depressed. I just didn't have access to information in the way that I did later in life. I was pretty much radicalized by the war on terror. I was pretty young when September 11th happened. My government was deciding to launch a global war and enact death and destruction over the planet and detain people illegally without charge of fair trial and torture people. It came at the same time I was starting to understand what it meant to be a political being. Now, and that also reflects on me and my morning of how I want to do my concert even more. I watched Woodstock last night, everybody. The making of the Woodstock movie, and the opening line in that movie was there was a 3-day concert. There was a 3-day concert with over 500,000 people. Rain, sleet, snow, 25-mile walk, or 25 miles of parking, all of that shit happened. And now we want to do a marijuana 420 concert with Snoop and with Lucas and Wiz Khalifa and the rest, So I'm getting closer, and I feel really righteous to be part of this. So I was pretty much radicalized by the war on terror. I didn't realize that I couldn't work on peace as a job. It took a year at Friends Committee on National Legislation, FCNL, the Quaker peace group I fell in love with, the lobbying for peace and justice. I then went from FCNL to Amnesty International. I ran the program that worked on national security and human rights issues. I traveled to Guantanamo and served as a human rights server there. I went on to hold a couple of other positions in D.C., working on national security and foreign policy. I became pretty demoralized and dejected in the war and peace space. Right now, it's just time for me to work on some fundamental systematic issues that are closely related. That's why I'm at Public Citizen. So I think Public Citizen has to do with this paper that we're reading here. Public Citizen is at the forefront of addressing the systematic broken nature of our democracy and how it's been completely captured by the corporate interests, including the military-industrial complex. Some people where I grew up to do still say things like, I'm not political. I don't like to get involved with those things. And now I understand the truth is that we are all political. We are all involved in the politics of how this country is run now. When we choose not to be involved, to be passive and to let the corporate interests have their say and exert their power unchecked. It affects everything we do, whether we recognize it or not. CHC. What is on Congress Watch agenda for the new Congress? Beavers. We are in a moment at where the country where people are very angry about health insurance and that there is a national conversation happening that hasn't happened in quite a while. Public Citizen is organizing virtual town hall coming up next week. It's called Are You Angry About Your Health Insurance? Sorry to laugh there. Medicare for all of the answers. We are inviting Congresswoman Pamela J. Paul and Debbie Ding L. Public Citizen Rob Weissman is going to speak. We have on-staff Congress Watch, full-time Medicare for all organizers, for all organizer. Brittany Shannon, she is going to be giving citizens something to do. Obviously, this is not something that is going to pass during the Trump administration and probably for a while. We have on-staff people that are going to be debating this and talking. Even during this time when we are playing defense, we still want to be playing offense and building power in support of our vision and things that should look like when power does shift. We will be ready for that moment. So same with me, is that it's an important time for me to pull this concert off and make peace with the people that are financing it and making it happen, to let them know how important this time is, okay? So that's you out there in Canada. So CHC, famously President Biden said that if a single-payer bill came into his desk, he would veto it. During Biden presidency, Bernie Sanders didn't push Medicare for all aggressively. No need to offend the boss. It's interesting that when Democrats are out of power, the nonprofit groups become passive. Well, I'm working on my nonprofit today, and I'm gonna go, baby. Okay, so 3, 2, 1. So anyways, it's interesting that when Democrats are out of power, the nonprofit groups become passive. Beavers. I used to work at Invisible. I used to work at Indivisible when Donald T. was first elected. Indivisible started because there were millions of people across the country who suddenly wanted to get involved. And to a degree that it just is human nature, it's easier to fight a big monster than it is to take the everyday small steps working towards positive change. I get that on some level, but it is critical to seize the moment we have to keep the energy up and tell my staff, Congress, I tell my staff, Congress, watch all the time. We don't work for the Democratic Party. Even though there are a number of Democrat members in Congress who we have good relationships with, at the end of the day, our purpose is to work on the behalf of the public interest. It is just about it isn't just about blue and red elections. It's about building the power and building towards our vision of what policy should look like. We are in a moment where people are angry, Democrats are in the minority, and it's easier to get them to fight back against the current administration, let's seize the moment and get them talking about the right thing now. CHC. Last year, the House of Representatives passed a bill with many Democrats voting for it. If finalized into law, would greatly expand the president's ability to designate nonprofit to, I guess that's kill, designate, demolish maybe, nonprofit organizations and support the terrorism and strip their tax-exempt status and punishment. You wrote the art. Unknown caller. Hang on, everybody. Good morning. Okay, so there's one of them right there. So it's time for the U.S. to ditch terrorism and designations altogether. Untimely terrorist designations are political tools that serve U.S. geopolitical goals. You say the bill would be a dangerous tool for suppressing dissent and crushing peace and justice organizing. An especially worrying prospect as the current administration prepares to take office. Those protesting to encourage the United States to stop supporting Israel's military campaign could face investigation or prosecution for materially supporting terrorism or lose their visas if they are foreign nationals. You write. You are familiar with the progressive, except for Palestine, PEP. There are many progressives who will look the other way and not fight this bill in Congress. Beavers, that contributed substantially to my becoming a demoralized working on the foreign policy in D.C. It's kind of remarkable sometimes how particular elected officials seem as if they get on so many issues, what it means to speak the truth to power, to push back and to get loud. And then all of a sudden, when we're talking about U.S. supported international violence and human rights and war crimes, our elected officials will say, I need more information, or it's nuanced, or it's really something we are paying attention to. Or is it not really something we are paying attention to? Congressman, CHC, Congressman Thomas Massie, Republican, Kentucky, is the only Republican who voted against the Mike Johnson Speaker of the House. He has voted against the present for massive military funding package for Israel, Ukraine. Most Democrats voted for those issues. Beavers, public citizens have actually already been leading an effort to cut the Pentagon budget, and so we have a number of partners outside that are right center, and we have been pulling the people together from the Democratic side and the Republican side, trying to get information of what actually is going into this bill. We are making the case of how hypocritical it is to this called Department of Government efficacy, is talking all about slashing trillions of dollars in spending, even when they want to use these two reconciliation bills to ramp up tax breaks for the rich people and also ramp up military spending. The numbers just don't add up. There are some fiscal conservative groups outside who are making those arguments. This is possibly an opportunity to bring together the big coalition of groups across of different sectors who will work on all those different issues, who are going to be opposing the bill for a whole number of different issues. We need to unlearn some of the misinformation we have been told, namely that we are stronger and better as long as we have this lethal military. We have this really aggressive big military that's what makes us secure. I don't understand. Okay. That's what makes us great. That's not what makes us secure, and that's not what makes us great. In fact, that's what involves us in war crimes often. That's what involves us in participating in destruction and multiple parts of the world, and participating in erosion, democracy across the world. And so the things are actually linked and the same causes, and soon we're able to not buy into the narrative and not buy into the the budget mechanism anymore. That's when things will change. So I'm going to put a hold on that there. So my concert that I'm thinking about, Relief and Blazing in the Falls, has the opportunity to recreate a gathering of thousands of people to have their say in freeing marijuana. So that's my key. That's my pitch today for my concert. I'm reading about Elizabeth Beavers this morning, and I won't be going so much into political stuff very much, because I have so many books to read, like, In My Father's Garden, and things like that, because that's what the morning readings are all about, is personal growth. But if we can't pay our bills or go to the hospital for free, then, like other countries, and they're demolishing all that stuff, I have to speak out. So same with if they're stopping hemp across America, making it illegal in California and some other states because of Delta 9 getting to children, which is not even marijuana. I mean, it's a hemp derivative, but it's sold in 7-Eleven and all that shit. Then I need to speak out and have this concert for peace, okay, and to make the documentary for peace, okay. So there it is, peace, and that's our marijuana peace sign for weed. So that's me, and I'm going to keep reading here. CHC. Congressman Bill Pascrell passed away last year. He famously wrote an op-ed in Washington Post in 2019 titled, "Why is Congress so dumb? We lawmakers dumped our in-house experts. Now lobbyists do the thinking for us." Beavers. I would be remiss if I didn't point out that I am a registered lobbyist, and Congress Watch is a lobbying group, but what Congressman Parcell is posting to his big corporate lobbyists is the dominant the process, because the Congress has needs that is in the House staff the resources cannot fill. They're serious brain and drain from Capitol Hill. Luckily, there are a number of congressional offices that call for advice, that we do our best by counteracting the corporate powers by existing, but there are far more that call military, industrial complex, or the fossil fuel industry lobbyists, or big lobbying firms that retain corporate clients. We're always going to be outspent. Public citizens in the forefront of pushing for ethics reforms, with Congress taking money in politics. So the money behind what I'm doing should go to the documentary, to the awareness raising, and to the gathering itself, to make it safe, to make it beautiful, to make it popular, and then to do it again and keep going from country to country to provide this, so we can bring our prisoners home, so we can make hempcrete homes, so we can be in a progressive moment in time here. So CHC, when Congressman Massey talked about APAC babysitters, he was referring to the face-to-face lobbying. What kind of staff do you have, and what part of your lobbying is face-to-face as opposed to over the phone, otherwise remote? Beavers. I'm sitting in Capitol Hill right now, and after we finish this interview, I'm going to an event where several members of Congress, we will be about 12 of us there in Congress, and watch once we are fully staffed up. The way Congress works has changed a little post-COVID. There are staffers who will just hop on a Zoom chat or a phone call, and and that's just what they prefer. But we do most of our work in person. It is so easy to walk right over to Congress with a coffee and with the right people, or show up at an event if we need to talk with somebody. We go into hearings, and we go to confirmation hearings tomorrow. Lisa Gilbert is going to be testifying the nomination for Pam Bondi for Attorney General. There is no substitute for that person-to-person relationship that we are building, and information gathering, that we are very much continue to have a physical presence on the Hill. So peace to my relationship with all the people that are putting on this beautiful concert blazing in the falls, in Niagara Falls in Canada, and to joining forces with Relief Aid. We really want to be heard, be part of the solution, be part of the documentary, Spike Lee and everything, and all the children in Kodak. So let's go, everybody. So CHC, we're almost done here, everybody. CHC, we've written in the past about how the corporations killed off the Office of Technology Assessment, OTA. It seems more needed now than ever. We're at a moment, Beavers, okay, this beautiful lady right there. We're at a moment when technology is advancing far faster than policy. Practically, it comes generative AI, and many ways it is being utilized in healthcare, weapons, and even elections. The independent expertise of the Office of Technology Assessment is needed now more than ever. Unfortunately, its funding is unlikely to be restored. In this political moment where Republicans hold the power in the White House and Congress and are promising to slash government of the resources it needs to serve the public interest, Republicans have given the tech industry oligarchs the power to influence at the highest level of government and are captured by industry interests. It is interesting that President B, that's Mr. Biden, mentioned that the rising tech industrial complex in his farewell speech, because he's exactly right. Yet, as president, he didn't meaningful counter the consolidation of power that's happening in this new oligarchy. Oy vey. went here. So now Congress watch up against a red trifecta backed by billionaires and tech bros, and our fight is on multiple fronts. We will have to both keep arguing for our positive vision, including restore OTA, but also mobilize forcefully against attacks that are headed our way. So I believe that's it here. That is it. So this is a pretty interesting paper. The Citizens. I don't know if you're aware of the Citizens. Doug gave that to me. He's my Quaker dude. And maybe I'll once in a while come in with something, that doesn't talk about, Foxtrot Delta Tango or, I just pray dearly to help the industry that I support. Let's see if I can get this so you can see it. So the industry that I support, it's beautiful. I mean, look, they take care in making and in telling you what's in there, and and recommendations and all that stuff. So the industry I support, that makes hempcrete, that makes balm, that makes homes, that make car doors, out of hemp plastic, that make rope, that make fabric that's not dirty cotton. So I think it's information for me, to get things out. Everybody feels right, and I'm grounded. I'm dancing with a new partner right now that feels right and makes me empowered to have that person to see me, and I know that every person that is taken out by a clean or a dirty bomb, there are no clean bombs, but is as valuable as myself. I mean, Billy Joel has water on the brain, and they say he'll come back, but he canceled all of his concerts. So getting old gracefully is freaking difficult, you know. My new friend went to be a friend of a 96-year-old who's potent and good and solid and can walk, still 96. And Chim Chimney, Dick Van Dyke just turned 100, so it's not the war between man and woman. It's not the war between, well, maybe those who have and those who don't have. Just exercise your mind, your heart, and your voice before we lose all of that, and this cool thread that I'm on this morning is not me taking sides. It's me reading what I read this morning in the throne home, when I woke up. So I'm going to carry on with my day. I'm going to go to the Oregon Country Fair and be neutral and interview children again this year. And hopefully one day I'll be able to put a thread together of the children that I'm interviewing. And it's been a pleasure. It's my morning, and ass kicking and genuine. So thank you. Thank you, Jill, in Sri Lanka, for all the years you had at our little store in Port Townsend for 37 years. We're sad that we don't have your store anymore, Crystal store, but it ran its course, and you're seeing your reality come true about taking care of children. So, like I was saying earlier, one person that goes down from a dirty bomb or a bomb period or from anybody who wakes up and shoots children at school, everybody's as complex as me, as you, as Billy Joel. You know, what's a Billy Joel song that you love or that you want to focus on now and say, whoa, that guy was really important and really beautiful and had the ability to gather people like I want to gather people through music and let them their hearts open up so war never happens again. So we all have health care. And so that's my heart this morning, everybody. I'm going to push so deep and so carefully to not alienate my team that I've found, thanks to Jeannie 420, who brought me in contact with the people. And so I have a show tomorrow. Come on my show. Look for me on Facebook, everybody, for Weed Weeds Day. And peace in the Middle East. That's all I got. Morning readings. Oh wait, here we can give you some morning readings here. Bum 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 bum. Bum